Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're going to get some insight in tennis and going through college on tennis. So my guest today is Michelle Gbelama, and she's the program director for the NJTL of Trenton and an entrepreneur. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, no problem. So usually I start my guests where they went to college. So where'd you go to school?
Drew University, Madison, New Jersey.
Ah, okay, good. So let's go back in time and go back into high school. Okay. So when you were in high school, when did you start thinking about tennis and going to college to play tennis? Was it freshman year, senior year?
I actually started thinking about college overall during my sophomore year of high school. I actually came from another country, so it was a different experience. My family weren't really sure what the process was like, so I kind of had to take it upon myself to figure things out. Wow. My sophomore year of high school, I went to my guidance counselor asking for help, asking for just any information I could get. He told me go and write a resume and bring it to me. So I went and did whatever I thought a resume would look like. I came to him and he's like, your resume is not diverse enough. So he's like, you need some sports or some extracurricular activities. So, and I played tennis in PE class. So I was like, you know what, I actually liked that sport. So let me just see what it's like. And I went to Trenton Central High School. So tennis was not like a big sport. Tennis was like more in the background. So I was like, you know what, that's perfect for me because I don't want, to sit on the bench or, just be there to be there, for the sake of it. So I went up to the coach, asked if she needed any extra players. She was like, sure, we always take, because we didn't have that much people actually interested in tennis because it's not a normal sport in the Trenton area. So I was like, sure, I'm going to join. And she was like, fine. I joined. My first match, actually 2 days later was my first match. I was really nervous. I had no idea what the scores were. It was just insane. But I liked the idea behind it because tennis really made me it's a mind game. So it was more like you had to challenge yourself a lot more in order to succeed. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to take on the challenge. And every day after school, I will utilize the wall and play as much as I could. And then fortunately, I discovered the NJTL of Trenton, who came to our school and transported us to Mercer County Airport at that time. That's where the tennis facility was. And I met Dan Faber, Rob Holland, and it was just from there I sticked with the NJTL. I had the opportunity to practice, but not just that, they gave me the opportunity to teach as a coach, as a junior instructor, and that really encouraged me to do more. It helped me with my leadership skills. It just opened my eyes a lot more, and that was it from there. Tennis became my pathway to college, and from then I started researching colleges based on their tennis teams. Fortunately, I reached out to Drew University's coach, Jeff Brendis, at that time, and he brought me over, to just take a look at the college, watch a few matches, and I was sold. So that was...
So take me through the process. How did you find Drew University? Did you look at other schools as well, or Drew was it?
Well, no, after I kind of upgraded my resume with a few sports, not just tennis, but I played softball and ran track as well. So after I updated my resume, then I started looking into colleges, and I applied all over the country. But I wanted to stay close to my family because we're a very small family, and I thought New Jersey would be an ideal place to be. So I applied to Rider University, College of New Jersey, but those schools were too close to home. So I was like, maybe something a little further. And Drew, I just liked the dynamic of Drew. It was a small school, it's a liberal arts school, it just fit my personality. It's in the woods. It was small, and I figured the professors would pay more attention to me because not only was I going to school to play a sport, I was going for the academic piece as well. So, and I was looking to study accountant, but unfortunately Drew didn't have it at that time. They had economics. So I was like, okay, economics it is. So I like the environment. I fit very well in that environment. So I was like, you know what, this is it. And I applied, got in, and I was like, okay. But the next step was, how do I pay for Drew? And Drew was a $55,000 school at that time. So I was just like, okay, I need to do everything I can because my family couldn't afford to pay for this. A school so expensive. So I went back to my guidance counselor. I'm like, okay, this is the school I want to attend. How do I get in? How do I pay for it? And he brought a big pile of applications, like college scholarships. And I filled all of them out. I wrote one good essay and edited all those that one essay to fit all of those scholarships. Applied to 100 organizations. I got about 51 scholarships back.
Wow.
And it helped me pay for my first year of Drew. And then on and on, as I played tennis, my financial aid became a little larger.
Right.
And then those ongoing scholarships just like helped me really sustain myself at Drew.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So now the process though, were there any coaches that came to the high school? Did any of that happen, or it was just you just constantly looking for schools?
Well, I was more of a, I have to get it done kind of person. I was very persistent. So I didn't really have the opportunity to see a lot of coaches. I did receive one invite to Dartmouth University, and that coach came to our school, but he told me we do not give scholarships for our school. So I was so disappointed. I was like, why? But he said, apply anyway. I applied and I got in, but it was too far away. And at that time, the scholarship situation was not working out. So I just thought, let me look elsewhere.
So now you're at Drew University and you're starting to play tennis there at Drew. How is the money factoring in with your parents and the school? You said 51,000 maybe?
55 at that time.
55,000, but how much did you get out of all those applications that you filled out?
So the 51 scholarships I received were, say, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, but they all added up. Some of them were from extracurricular activities I did, and they will promise you scholarship when you're done with that program. So I had, as they accumulated, it fit for 1 year.
Oh, okay. So it was enough where your parents didn't have to pay too much that first year.
Right. Well, my parents didn't pay anything at all because I knew they couldn't afford it. And so either I could do that or I could settle for a lower school that it was closer to my home. And it wasn't what I wanted. So I had to do anything I could to get to a school that I really wanted to be at. So those scholarships helped me the first year. But then the second year came in more financial aid. I spoke to the admissions office at Drew more, and my financial situation was not great. So as a minority, it was easier to get more scholarships. Not only that, but grants, in-state grants. The fact that I went to a school in New Jersey helped a lot. And I just made my way from there, and I got associated with more organizations. Like the NJTL helped me sometimes through when I wasn't able to pay certain amount. I would reach out to the NJTL, and so it's just working your way through. You just gotta find a way to make it happen.
So 4 years? Did you go 4 years there?
I went 4 years. Yes.
Okay. So now you're playing tennis there. What's the process of tennis there? You get to school when? Is it June, July? Is it September? When does tennis start at Drew University? Well,
Drew University is a D3 school, and our conference is usually our main conference is in the spring. Okay. So when I got to Drew at that time, our conference was in the fall. So it kind of switched 1 year after I was there. Okay. But basically right now, the system is you apply, you get in, so you come to school September just like any other student. Okay. We do have like a introductory process where we introduce everyone and we have like a team dinner or something like that. And the process is basically you practice throughout the fall. We have some non-conference matches in the fall, and then our spring is the main season. So spring starts around March. Practices from September to November. We have winter break. And then we come back in February, start practices again, and then March, our main season starts.
Okay, and then March until when? It goes until?
March until May.
Until May.
Depending on if you're consistent in your conference. So if you're winning a lot of matches, you go into the end of May.
Okay.
If you don't, then you stop like early May and the season's over.
Okay, and then in the summertime, do you do anything in the summer? Or are you just back at NJTL helping and teaching? And
well, during the summer we didn't do too much. The summer is basically go back and try to get better and come back to be at the next level. So for me, when I was there, my summer was basically at NJTL. I was coaching at Catwater Park, and around the Trenton area, and then just practicing as much as I could to get back and become number one, which I eventually did.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, so you were number one singles at Drew University?
Yes, I made number one my sophomore year of college.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah. So class-wise, so you're studying economics there. What are you thinking about in college? Are you thinking I can do this professionally after school, or you're thinking I just want to get a good education and get a good job after school? What's your mindset?
You mean professional as in tennis related?
Tennis related.
Well, I knew I was not going to be a professional tennis player considering it was a D3 school.
Okay.
The competition is not as high. So if I was a number one player, but I wasn't like the number one player in our conference. So I knew this was a great opportunity to just experience the sport, and it became a passion. So like fulfill this passion, but also education was my main priority at that time. So my goal was finish college, get a job, and survive. You know, so basically I enjoyed the sport. I enjoyed the whole atmosphere, the idea of it. After college, I went back and went to grad school for creative writing and global studies. Wow. And while I was in grad school, I was the assistant coach, and up to last year, I was assisting the head coach at Drew. So it was a passion that continued, and unfortunately with the NJTL, after my graduate studies, they offered me the program director position. So it was just, I kept on doing tennis. So
now there's always a question that comes up with parents, and the question is, you know, college is all about the sport, it's never about the academics. What do you say to parents on that?
Well, first of all, every parent has to sit with their children or child and kind of talk about their options. So one conversation, I will suggest your child's sophomore year is when you start talking about college. Start giving them information on what the process is like. For those parents who are not aware of the college process, like my parents weren't, I will reach out to a guidance counselor, an after-school program coordinator, an extracurriculum coordinator, anyone who might have information on the college process. I will reach out to and just familiarize myself with the situation, and then decide whether college is right for your child or not. Because in this day and age, college is becoming more expensive than we will hope, and you don't want to waste money and waste time. So the first process would be have a conversation. Second is start reaching out to those coaches if your child is real athlete, if your child is interested in sports. Start reaching out to those coaches. You might not have too much information at that time because coaches are looking for juniors and seniors, but they will take you in and they will give you as much as they can give you at that time because you're not in the running yet. And then finance is a big thing too. So see where your financial situation fits and where your child can possibly go for at a reasonable price. So now when you're at college though, is it all about tennis, or do they allocate time for studying and doing that kind of stuff? Well, it depends on what kind of college you're in. So if you're at a D1 school, 60% of your time is spent with your sport.
Okay.
D2, pretty much probably 45. D3 is like 30 because academic is our number one priority and not the sport. The sport is important, and we support and encourage athletes to succeed. But your academics, at the end of the day, we know you would like to do something related to the business or whatever other field that is, and not pursuing tennis as a career. And don't get me wrong, there are some high-level D3 schools where students go on and become professional players. But if that's not the child's goal, as coaches, we focus on your education as much as we focus on your athleticism.
Okay. So now you graduate from college. You go into the NJTL. Did you become the program director right from the get-go, or is there some steps before that? And how did you end up being also an entrepreneur?
So I started since I was 17 with the NJTL. So I was a junior coach, supervisor, and just, I was within the organization for 9 years. Wow. So after I graduated college, I was still involved. I came back, I went to the galas, I volunteered, I worked in the office when I had the time. So I was still like a part of the family. And when I graduated, the organization was transitioning, and so they were just like looking for someone to fill that position, and with my background, I was given the opportunity to.
So now what do you do as a program director there?
Well, I run create programs, different programs. Like we have 3 different programs. We have our outreach program where is a basic tennis instruction. So we reach out to students who have not had the opportunity to experience tennis. We have our ACE program, which is on the educational side. It was created by us, sold to the USTA, and now it's a nationwide program. And so we teach children math literacy, and we focus on learning more than testing, because these days a lot of schools are focused on testing. Right. So we try to get the kids' minds out of testing and just enjoying the whole idea of learning. And then we have our ASH program, which is a selective program where we select students from the outreach and ACE component and bring them into ASH, where we provide college scholarships, mentoring. We basically follow them from grade 3rd to 12. Wow. And then after college, we provide college scholarships, and into college, we help them, get opportunities like I did.
Great. Okay. So now, entrepreneur. So what are you doing with that?
So it right now is current. It's like a side thing that I'm doing. I'm associated with Amway, which is a nationwide company, and you're allowed to kind of buy into the corporation and become an independent business owner. So NJTL used to have a lot of nutritional component to it. So I thought, with that experience or having that background, I could go into something related to the nutrition side. So Amway sells nutritional products, weight loss management products, and a lot of healthy things. A lot of our products are from the rainforest, and they're all organic. So I think that's coming from a sports background. I think that's something that's positive. Yeah, sure. And so what I do right now, I'm an independent business owner. I bought into it, and I sell those products and try to get more people involved.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Good. So now, you said that you came from another country. What challenges did you have when you got here?
Well, yeah, so I was born in Liberia, and I had the opportunity to travel a little bit because my father was a pastor, so we went to different countries building churches. So I already had like experience with people and like a good background, but coming to the U.S., it was a little different. The culture is different, the language is a bit different, the way people behave is completely different. So I wasn't used to just the atmosphere. I come from a very structured background, and it was a lot free, I guess you'll say, here. Yeah. And so there are too many opportunities, and there are too many things. You just don't know which one to go to. So like I needed to come back to like that structured place and kind of figure out which path was good for me.
So when did you get here? You got here when you were a teenager?
When I was 13. Okay. I was newly 13 when I got here, and it was another world for me. Unfortunately, I lost my father 1 year after I got here, so it was pretty much me finding my own way through. Because my father was here 6 years before we got here, and he was like the pathway to get here and kind of find our way through. But when he passed away, it was just like an eye opener, and we had to figure everything out on our own. So.
Great.
But fortunately, it worked out. I mean, I think everything happens for a reason. So I think I'm the person I am today because certain negative situations happen and I turn it into a positive situation.
Yeah, so now when you were in high school, what type of challenges did you have in high school?
It's just that the environment was very different. Trenton is known for violence and things like that, but I think it depends on the person, it depends on the child, and it also depends on the family. Because I came from a good family, my outlook was not to follow a bad crowd or go the wrong way. I had a goal. I set a goal for myself. My parents set a goal for us, and that was our way to get out of it. And yes, Trenton has a bad reputation, but I think there are a lot of good people in Trenton who are working hard to make sure that these kids have a good pathway. And one is NJTL of Trenton, and this is what we do. Our job, we service 2,800 students from ages 5 to 18.
Wow.
And our goal is to try to give them good opportunities where they're distracted enough in a positive way that they're not looking outside for help and looking outside and getting into trouble.
So now sports is that way for you. You found a couple of different sports to do that. What other things that are in Trenton that kids can get involved in?
Well, there are a lot of different organizations out there right now. You have, like, we partner with the Boys and Girls Club. We have the YMCA. We used to have the YWCA that just left, but there are so many after-school programs, and our new mayor, Eric Jackson, is doing such a great job, just making sure that he shows his face at every program so that kids are seeing a positive role model out there that's really trying to make the city a better place. So NJTL is one of them, and I will always say that. The Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, all of those organizations are doing as much as they can to get kids involved in positive things instead of getting into trouble.
Yeah, so now playing tennis at the high school, were there things at the high school that they did where they showed you different schools? Were there like college nights at the high school or anything like that? Yeah,
we had college nights. We had field trips where they took us to different school. Well, it was like a lot of schools came to us. But for me, I was more involved in like the honor societies and the AP classes. So we had specific programs that were available to us. For example, my sophomore year, I interned at Merrill Lynch, and that's when my eyes really opened, and I was like, wow, I can actually be in business, and these opportunities are available to us. So there are several companies that are working with the high school in Trenton, Ewing, Hamilton, and so opportunities are there. The idea is, how do we get our kids to actually utilize those opportunities?
Yeah.
That's the main problem, because if you're illiterate and you don't know what's available to you, how can you get there? So, and I think that's the part all of these organizations play in the children's lives, by kind of steering them towards those opportunities.
So do you find when you were at the high school, do you find the sport to be a safe haven for yourself? Is that something that you saw?
In a way it was, because I was so busy. After school, I had a match or a practice. I was busy doing things related to the sport, but also doing things related to after school programs.
Okay.
So I wasn't sure. I wasn't able to really get into the bad crowd. It was not an option for me. Really, just focusing on those different activities were the me focus.
Okay, well, good. So we're coming to the end of our show, and usually what I ask my guests is, what advice do you want to give to the parents that they have sons and daughters that are playing tennis, they want to go on to college and play at the college level? What advice do you want to give them?
Well, again, and I think I said this earlier, first, have a conversation with your child and make sure that this child wants to play the sport or would like to pursue a certain sport or career. Because I find a lot of parents forcing their children into things because they wanted it in the past and now they would like to live through their children. And that's not okay because the kids come and they're miserable. As a tennis coach, I know this and I see this firsthand. So I encourage you, talk to your child first and see if that child would like to pursue this sport. And then just reach out to the coaches. The coaches, we have a way to reach the admissions office. If we really like you, we're going to get you in no matter what, finance or no finance. So reach out to the coaches. That's the first thing you do. And we'll see how your child is. And it may be, if the child's like in 9th grade or 10th grade, we'll encourage you to do more, give you pointers on how to improve the child's skill in order to have he or she make the team.
Right.
So just have a conversation, reach out to people who are available to give you information, and don't give up. Just some kids, sometimes it's hard, the process is hard, you're not too sure what you're doing. But I was completely unaware of what I was doing, and I didn't really have that much support behind me, but I did it anyway, and fortunately it worked out. So if you're behind your child, I commend you 100%. Reach out to us. If you're in the Trenton, Hamilton, Ewing area, NJTL is right there. We have enough information to provide you, and just ask questions. Do not think that you know it all, because you really don't.
Good. Well, thank you very much for coming to the show.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, no problem. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.